12 business lessons. In our 8+ years here at Hillview Partners, we've undertaken over 150 transactions, over $1 billion of aggregate transaction value. And while in many of these videos we're discussing particular components of selling businesses, of securing capital, of growing businesses, along the way we've been asked many times, what lessons have you picked up about business in general, about growing business, about undertaking and incurring the pain and suffering towards growing a business, and the benefits of it as well. And so from our experience, we've put some thought into what are 12 of the key lessons, one secret at the end, that we've picked up along the way that we feel have been most impactful as we've developed and evolved as a business. And so we'll break this into 2 videos. Video A is going to be numbers 1 through 6. Video B will be 7 through 12, as well as the secret that we indicated. So lesson 1 in business that we've learned is say no more often. Oftentimes the cost of building something excellent, of building something elite, is foregoing and bypassing all of the other good opportunities along the way. When we start business, oftentimes we think we're just going to chase down the good, say no to all the bad, but in reality, in the pursuit of elite, it's saying no to a lot of good. And if I told you, even personally, as we've grown the business, how many times we've said, imagine if we just bought that building that we were talking about. Imagine if we had just invested in that early stage company, what could have happened? But in reality, our business is selling and finding capital for $1 to $10 million EBITDA businesses, and the allocation of resources, time, effort into anything other than that does not grow that business. And so what we've learned is it's saying no to good things, not just saying no to bad things, that allows us to focus on the main mission as we have and continue to do. So lesson number 2, building off of lesson number 1, is not just saying no more often, but it's saying no earlier. And so when something comes in, when it can be evaluated that it's not going to be a go or it's not going to be a fit, and whether it's something that wouldn't be a fit to what we're doing or it's something ancillary that would create an appendage for the business, one must say no, and one must say no quickly. Sometimes we keep some of these things hanging around saying, well, we'll put it in the corner and let's think about it more. Let's keep that floating around. But that type of delay or procrastination, if we want to be honest with ourselves, is not beneficial. And so saying no more often, saying no quicker when we've evaluated and we've reached a high level of conviction that it's not going to be something actionable is also another thing that has really allowed us to accelerate business-wise over time. Number 3 is not trying to convert bad into good, but rather focusing on good and finding more of it. And so it sounds a bit opaque, but there's that scene in Mad Men where Don Draper stands up and says, we don't sell to non-believers. And that is a tenet of business that we've undertaken, in the sense that you're not going to turn no's into yeses. And if you ultimately do turn no's into yeses, they're going to look at every reason to confirm their initial no. To say, see, this is why we shouldn't have done this. See, this is why we shouldn't have worked with this situation, or whatever it may be. And so in reality, you can't have that kind of poverty mindset that there's a limited amount or finite amount of opportunities. Almost every market and every business that we work in is multiple billions of dollars and at least hundreds of millions of dollars. And therefore, instead of trying to turn every no into yes, feeling like Sisyphus pushing that boulder uphill, only to be in a situation where someone is looking for every reason not to continue, better to just find yeses and find more of them. Find more good, and it will make for a lot less gray hair and a lot more success. Number 4 is defining your value proposal succinctly. This is the elevator pitch, whatever analog we want to use here, but the idea is, what is it that you do and why is it special? So in our situation, we sell companies generating $1 to $10 million of EBITDA. We find capital for $1 to $10 million EBITDA companies faster, without distraction, in a more discrete fashion, while generating the best results across value structure, transition periods, and employee or stakeholder considerations. Right? What is the one sentence of the business that you do? And over time, that becomes simpler. It becomes more synthesized. It becomes more distilled. And so while we started our business with a multi-page thesis, it is boiled down to that sentence, and that's what we say in any business that we're involved with, or any lesson that we've learned. What is your value proposal? If you do X or make Y, why should someone want to do it with you? And if you can say that, then typically why the result is better, why it happens faster, why it happens with less pain or distraction, and why it happens with a higher certainty, that's a value proposal. Number 5 is time horizons. So we say this, and I believe the quote goes that people underestimate what they can accomplish, yet they overestimate how quickly it can be accomplished. And so when we say think of time frames, in business, the lesson we've learned is thinking in years, thinking in decades, thinking in a century for a business versus thinking purely in days, weeks, or even months. And it's not to say everybody's going to hold these businesses forever, but if you build a business as if you were going to hold it forever, we find that the thought process is much more intelligent, much more comprehensive, and ultimately the infrastructure, if you will, or the underpinning architecture of the business tends to be more thoughtful and durable as well. And so number 6 for this first video is the idea of mistakes. I think it was a Machiavelli quote, but he said, "Make mistakes of ambition, not mistakes of sloth. Develop the strength to be bold, not the strength to suffer." So the idea being, if you're going to make mistakes, which inevitably will happen in any business, no matter what you're doing, no matter how much you try to be perfect, you'd rather point to the mistake as being, we really tried to overachieve for our client. We really tried to do so much, create so much value, versus saying we were timid, we were weak, we were afraid. And so that's the thought relative to mistakes. So lessons 1 through 6 for today. Let's give a quick recap. 1, say no more often. 2, say no sooner. 3, don't turn bad into good, just find more good. 4, understand and be able to communicate your value proposal. 5, understand time horizons. And 6, if you're going to make mistakes of ambition. So that's the thought for today. We'll continue this in the next video. Hope the week's getting off to a good start for everyone. Keep pushing forward. God bless. We'll see everyone next time.